Thank you. So next up, I would like to welcome Eric Tam, who is going to talk to us about moving people safely.
My device.
Okay, now you're on.
Can I do back of props?
Props are always good. There's the
Yeah,
remote.
thank you.
Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Eric Tam, and I'm here to talk about functional safety, moving people safely. And I believe I'm going to be your last barrier to lunch. Okay? So, functional safety. It sounds like a very technical term. And it's probably something that I believe a lot of people here you haven't heard a lot of. Are there anyone here who works on functional safety in theme parks? Oh, okay. Oh, Steve, that's a surprise. Right. Okay. And well, actually, yesterday I was really inspired by the storytelling session by Paul. He mentioned something about this device. I know this device is a high-tech device, smartphone. And because of devices like this, of the technology sophistication, nowadays, we are our guests to our entertainment systems. They are really looking for really immersive experience in the entertainment system that are often pushing the sensory systems to the edge. And that also imposes a great challenge on theme park operators in order to operate the theme parks safely, despite of all the challenges from our guests that they are looking for this immersive experience. And because of that, they're also looking for a reasonable return on investment because of all the money that they invest on these high-tech entertainment systems. So this is the really challenging part in theme parks. And talking about sophisticated entertainment systems, right? Edward, I think that looks familiar to you, the one in the middle. And in fact, it was such a coincidence that Edward, he mentioned about crane dance, because crane dance was the first system, the first project that I did that implemented functional safety. And at that time, there was a project 10 years ago. And that project, a lot of the functional safety principle in that project was actually being developed for later projects, like a very sophisticated 3D interactive dark ride that was just commissioned and opened in Qingdao last year. So I want to show you a little bit of the video of what these entertainment systems are all about. So something different for crane dance from a different perspective. In fact, this video was only taken 1 week ago. When I was in Singapore, I was doing a health check on the crane dance system. Isn't it amazing how much smartphones have evolved? It was taken by a phone that I'm holding here. Right. Since Edward mentioned about crane dance, and actually this year is the 10th anniversary of crane dance, and it's going to be dismantled next year for new hotel development. So if you are interested, well, actually, I have a video here. It's a time-lapse video about behind the scene of how crane dance operates. If you're interested, because I only thought of it just now, I just pulled it out from my phone. Is it possible that team you can play that video?
I don't think so.
It's a 36-second video. Right. So you can appreciate the sophistication behind it, but yeah, I will be checking the time. Yeah, just the newest video. Last file. Okay. Okay, it's okay if you can't find it.
No, I can find it's not playing. No, I can find it.
All right. Okay. Sorry. Fortunately, it's not working. But if anyone who are interested, I will show that video. Maybe link it. Okay. So there was the crane dance attraction 10 years ago, and I want to show you another attraction that was opened last year. The Qingdao 3D interactive ride. And I will tell you what are the similarities between these two. Interactive roller coaster system. Okay, so from crane dance to this dark ride system, 10 years later, what is the link between these two? Crane dance, when it was first developed, it was really developed at a time where functional safety was very minimally mentioned in theme parks. That was when the technology was originally used in industry, and later on it started to get implemented in the theme parks. And in fact, when I did crane dance, that technology was more for protecting the birds from killing each other. So, but with crane dance, like there are like 12 moving axes, overlapping with a lot of overlapping motions. So there were a lot of opportunities for the birds to collide with each other. And actually for this chain down system, it's like the 12 motion axes being rolled into a 700-meter of roller coaster tracks. And there are like 9 roller coasters that are running simultaneously at high speed on this 700-meter track. So the same technology that used to protect the birds from colliding and killing each other was used in this system. Very similar concept, and in fact a lot of the algorithms were developed from crane dance. So to understand functional safety, how that relates to our ride system, I would like to talk a little bit about these sort of systems, if I may. Like airplane, railway system, roller coaster rides. They all have something in common, is that they all carry people, and they're all moving people. So how do we move people safely with this large infrastructure or equipment? I mean, they not only move people physically, they also move people emotionally, because they are bringing people closer to each other. They form new relationships. I'm not sure, like a lot of our American friends, every day you drive cars, but in Hong Kong we take trains. So as you can see, all sorts of things can happen in train, even a proposal can happen on train. So it's very important that we keep people safe. And there are a lot of joy and happiness that happens in a theme park, in a roller coaster ride, if that works perfectly. So, but in real life, there are many risk factors. And in fact, when we hit this milestone in life, what we cause like every day cause of death from various causes, when you are in midlife, including all medical reasons. So first of all, how do we define midlife? There are many definitions, but this definition that I heard from a YouTuber is the most interesting one that I have encountered. His name is Archie Luxury, and this is his definition.
The Rolex Datejust steel with white gold bezel, what does that say? What does that say about the owner? It says they're middle age.
Right. May I have a show of hand who has a Datejust, Rolex Datejust with white gold bezel? Okay. Fortunately not. But even if you have one, it's okay, because he did say that you have a fine taste if you own one. And it's worth celebrating that you have reached that milestone in life, that you are included in this statistic. So when we are in midlife, okay, about 50% of all deaths are related to accidents. Okay, and so what are the major accidents that are like cause fatality in our lives? Okay, there are these 3 major types of accidents: natural disaster, road traffic accident, and accident in home. Well, actually, those are my 2 sons. That was when we first moved to Australia, and it was the first time they used a dishwasher. So they put in the wrong detergent, and we almost got drowned inside our kitchen. So, so I want you to guess, like, what are the major accident causes? Like, what do you think there were the most causes of fatal accident that happens? Where do you think that takes place? Sorry? Sorry, Vinny? Home, cars? Okay. about almost negligible of those accidents happen in natural disaster. About 12% of the accident are road traffic accidents, of those fatality, and about 80% of the accident happen at home. Okay, and how do those accidents happen at home? I mean, you know, in the same week that happened, that was when my family moved to Australia. You know, my kids, they were trying to cook in the kitchen. And so for some reason, they didn't light the stove properly, and then we all went out shopping happily. And when we came back, yeah, we smelled gas in the house. So I was worried. I went to check. And then my youngest son, he rushed to the light switch and said, "Oh, it's so dark, so let's switch on the lights." And my family was almost all wiped out on that day. And like 33 years ago, when I was a kid, this was my favorite toy. I didn't use it to hang myself, but what I did is, you know, as a kid, I was exploring like electrical circuits, so I just casually twist these wires together. Use a bit of sticky tape. Don't do this at home. And then I plug this into the outlet. And I hear this big bang. So that was my first lesson about electric arc. So if you think going out to the road is dangerous, road traffic accident, you should stay at home. But you stay at home, you have kids like this. But even if you don't have any kids like this, you can sleep peacefully at home. But remember, your kid next door may be playing with this. Your kid next door may be ready to burn down your house. So there is a home accident that is really hard to avoid. But what about other accidents that are out there? I suppose a lot of you have recently heard about, you know, news about the 737 MAX 8, that accident. I don't know how much you know about it, but it has actually a lot to do with functional safety, what has failed in there. There were now infamous MCAS system. Has anybody heard of the term MCAS? Okay, so I don't know how much you know about MCAS. It stands for Maneuverability Capability Augmented System. So what it does is it helps to prevent the airplane from stalling, because with this Boeing 737 MAX 8, in the attempt to increase the capacity of the plane and to increase efficiency, they have used these high bypass engines that are huge, that are large, so they have to be configured in a way that they are really pointing forward in the plane, so they are aerodynamically unstable. So to overcome that problem, they use something, what they call the MCAS system, so that it will use the angle of attack sensor, which is something to detect the airflow to the plane. So if the angle of the airflow is too high, then it will automatically pitch the nose down, so that you maintain the lift on the airplane. But one problem with the MCAS system is that it is only using one angle of attack sensor inputs. And so how did that happen? Because you know, when Boeing they were having this severe competition with Airbus, you know, they had to decrease the time to market this new model of airplane. So a lot of these functional safety process were not being audited by FAA, which is a third party. And because such a system, if they have two angle of attack sensor input, a redundant sensor input, that will consider to be a level A system. So what is the definition of a level A system? That means the failure of this system will cause a catastrophic consequence. I believe now we all know that that is a catastrophic consequence. And to give you a feel of what that means that the tolerable probability of that happen every hour is 10 to the minus 9. So that is like 114,000 years before an event can happen for that particular subsystem. But in less than 6 months, it had happened 2 times. So there was a problem that that didn't get through, and and that is actually, this definition is under the standard DO 178B, which is a subcategory of the IEC 61508, which is a functional safety standard, general standard. So the design fell on the redundancy, on diversity, and on diagnostic for the functional safety design. And in fact, there was, in this bulletin that happened just after the Lion Air incident, that there were even a commentary that this bulletin was issued just after the Lion Air incident. It was saying that this procedure and the sensor system triggering them has stayed the same since 20 years, as far as we understand. The system and its sensors have not been changed since the introduction of the 737NG in 1998, which is not true because the MCAR system was not mentioned until the second incident happened. This is actually a bulletin, service bulletin from within Boeing, which says that the failure of such system can cause the autopilot from engaging or being disengaged automatically. So that failure on functional safety has claimed a total of 338 lives. That mistake, there was an expensive mistake. And what about the MTR system? I'm not sure whether any of you has ride on the MTR system in Hong Kong, but anyone seen an image like this? Right, you can't imagine like in a city with almost 8 million populations. That could have happened, but that happened. But fortunately, it happened on the day. No, it was during the testing phase of that system that nobody was on the train. But the system was about to go into service in a few months' time. So what happened on that day was that they were testing this new system, the train control system, the dispatch system. But the thing is that MTR, while trying to increase the capacity of the system, they asked the contractor, the supplier of the train control system, to provide a design that has a standby system in addition to the redundant system, which is an unproven design, which is, according to the functional safety, is supposed to be a category 4 system. And 2 keys of that principle is that the design, the architecture has to be proven in use, safety principle, and has a redundant structure. So that design has failed the functional safety definition. And also the Alton Tower roller coaster ride that caused the collision on June 2nd, 2015. And there wasn't so much of a technical issue, but there was a organization functional safety management issue. Was that the operator of that ride, or that they did not follow the principle of functional safety, that they operated the right at the pressure from the management that they need to provide that throughput to the park, and they have a target downtime, which was given by the management. So what we see in common of this scenario is that they were all under the pressure to produce results, but the consequence was it was a cost that has cost them so much more than if they would have implemented functional safety in the correct way. I mean, functional safety, the cost of it could be thousands to tens of thousands of dollars in the theme park entertainment system, but the cost of failing on functional safety can be millions to billions. So this is what John has shared yesterday in yesterday morning session, is that the cost of change, it increased exponentially over time. And while you still have control, which is at the beginning, you have a lot of control over the cost. But as time goes on, your ability to control the cost depletes. So that is what happened to the few case study that we have seen. The cost of implementing functional safety actually causes insignificant compared to the consequence. So this second last slide. So my point is, the main point I want to bring out is, if you follow the functional safety standard, the safety, that is a definite path of what you can achieve. And you can achieve it in a systematic way. So there's certainty, there's no guesswork. So the choice, and this is the safety life cycle, that if you follow the process is important. So what is the choice? How to achieve safety? There are two choices: learn from mistake, or employ functional safety process. And that is the message that I would like to bring. Functional safety, moving people safely. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Eric.